Let's go to the Biden campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware, where we find NBC News political reporter Ali Vitali. Ali, I know, obviously, the Biden campaign would have liked to have clarity early in the evening to put this to bed. At the same time, they have been saying pretty much every step of the way that this could go beyond Election Day by days, even weeks. And Joe Biden pointed to that in his comments last night. What's the mood there this morning? What are you hearing from the campaign?
That's certainly still the mindset, Mika. I think the word that we've been hearing from our campaign sources is that this is going to be a slog. And we knew that it was going to take a while to count votes in some of these places. But now living in that reality clearly feels a little different to Democrats, because I think you guys make a really good point when you talk about, and I have heard this in my text message chains as well, this idea of Democrats needing to recalibrate their message because of how they've fared yet again against Donald Trump nationally in this case. But the campaign right now also still has to be focused on the potential of winning this election. And so they're still looking at places like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. They still feel like they can rebuild the blue wall, especially as so many of us went to bed last night. A lot of those big metropolitan areas were still out with so many votes left to be counted. And so the Biden campaign clearly watched what Donald Trump did last night. They watched him unfoundedly declare victory. And they're out this morning with a statement in which they're saying that it was outrageous, unprecedented, and incorrect. Jen O'Malley Dillon, in that statement that came out in the wee hours of the morning, still saying that they believe every vote is going to be counted, and also saying that if Donald Trump makes good on his promise to come at them with legal challenges, they've got teams of lawyers at the ready.
Yeah, Ali, and they're right in that assessment of what the presidents came out and said late last night. But what is the state of mind of the campaign right now? We should point out again, Joe Biden has a good chance to get to 270. He's still there. These states are close, but 24 hours ago, as you know well, the campaign was sort of indicating, hey, we feel pretty good about Georgia. We feel good about North Carolina. Florida looks like it's in play. They were talking about a huge map. All of a sudden, they're fighting for their lives in the upper Midwest that they thought they had locked. So how are they feeling this morning? Are they shell-shocked?
We know that there's the emotional roller coaster of Election Day, and I think we've been talking about it as cautious optimism. Yesterday, I would have told you that this campaign was leaning into the optimism. Today, I would tell you that they're leaning into the cautious, because frankly, I think a lot of the things that we saw in 2016, Democrats then felt like there was really no way that they could lose to Donald Trump. This time around, obviously, Democrats more skittish because they saw what happened in 2016. But even though a lot of these Democrats, whether they're strategists outside the campaign or people inside of this campaign, they said that they saw that the numbers were close, a lot of them were still looking at the data, seeing early voter turnout that tilted in Biden's direction. I think a lot of them looked at this race going into last night and felt like the numbers couldn't lie to them. They were just looking at the math.
Huh.
All right.
Ali Vitali at Biden headquarters. Thank you very much.
By the way, the dust is still settling, and we have a long way to go. When we come back, let's talk about Hillary Clinton and the apologies that, I'll just say it, that I owe her and a lot of other people owe her, saying, oh, it was so easy to beat Donald Trump. All you had to do was go to Wisconsin. Ends up not so easy. We still don't know who's going to be president come January.
Steve Kornacki will join us after a break to update the map. We'll be right back.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.